Hello, you're watching Saints Live with me, Kenzie Benali.
And me, Steve Forbes.
Welcome along to a very sunny St Mary's Stadium for the FA Cup quarter-final clash between Southampton and Manchester City. Now, both league meetings this season ended in draws, but who will come out on top today? Well, joining us for this one is lead NBC sports writer Joe Prince-Wright and, of course, also former Saints captain Dean Hammond. Lovely to see you both. Dean, how have you been?
Very well, Kenzie, very well. Enjoying the sunshine at the moment. Spring's here and summer's coming, but I'm excited about the game today. I love the FA Cup, loved it as a player, and still love it now. It's a brilliant competition. So, yeah, really excited about the game today.
Yeah, we love the FA Cup as well. And Joe, how are you? Lovely to see you as always.
Yeah, lovely to be joining you guys. I love the FA Cup as well. It's just brings back so many great memories of going to the Dale as a fan and St Mary's for some of the big quarterfinals and big games in the past. So, yeah, really looking forward to today's game, and the sun is shining, and hopefully we're going to be talking about a Saints win in a few hours from now.
Fingers crossed. Lovely to see you guys again. Now, the team news will be coming up in around about 15 minutes' time. We do know that Alex McCarthy and Lianco are both still out injured, but there's no fresh injury concerns that we are aware of. Given that, Dean, and we were slightly surprised by Ralph's selection in the last round of the Cup. How do you think he might line up today?
If I'm honest, Steve, I'm not totally sure. I think it all depends on how the manager wants to continue to approach the competition. Personally, I think that he will go with his strongest team today and not make too many changes from the Premier League team, even though the results of the last three games have not been as expected. I could see Nathan Redmond coming back into the team today just for his pace, his creativity, and just his ability to be able to run with the ball. I think there will be times in the game and periods in the game where Southampton will be defending deep and have to hold a shape, and then we'll have to play on the counter-attack. And I think Nathan's very, very good at that. Livramento, I think, will come back into the team for a similar reason. You know, his driving runs from deep to be able to get Southampton up the pitch. I think that will be really, really important. And I think Brozier will come in from the start as well, and him and that reform that partnership that he has with Shay Adams up front. So I think the team will be very, very similar in terms of when we played Man City this season. You know, 2 draws against them, performed very well against them on both occasions, home and away. Arguably could have won both games. And tactically, the manager got it right on both of those occasions. So I think there'll be 2 or 3 changes today, but no major shake-ups. It's the quarter-final of the FA Cup, 1 game away from Wembley in the semi-final. So I think it's really important today. The atmosphere will be brilliant. So, yeah, looking forward to it. But I think the manager will go as strong as possible against a brilliant Man City team.
Oh, 1 game away from Wembley. It sounds so good, doesn't it? Joe, what's your thoughts on this then? What lineup do you expect Ralph to go with this afternoon?
Very similar to Dean in that you do not know really what to predict from Ralph. In the FA Cup all season long, he's rotated the players. And I think it's going to be interesting to see if he keeps the shape and the formation the same. He might be tempted to maybe shock Man City a little bit and go to a 3-5-2, but I would urge him to be brave. And I think playing the 4-2-2-2 actually works better against the better teams that are more expansive, more open, and have to attack and get on the ball. And that suits Saints a bit better. So I think we'll see a few changes, but Ralph has been pretty strict in terms of these players. I'm going to give them opportunities in the FA Cup all season long. So we might see the likes of Jack Stevens, Diallo, Shane Long. I agree with Dean that Nathan Redmond should be starting today because I think he will give Saints that quality on the ball to keep hold of it, which is really important against Manchester City to try and take a bit of the pressure off. But even though there's been 3 straight defeats in the Premier League, I don't think the Villa result aside, Watford and Newcastle are very tight games. And I think that's more about how the opponents played and set up rather than anything Saints did particularly badly. You look at the expected goals, the stats from both those games, both should have probably been a draw, and it was just that Saints were on the wrong end of some big moments in those games. So, yeah, I would go with the best 11, but I do expect there probably to be 3 or 4 changes from the team that lost to Watford last weekend.
Well, as mentioned, there were plenty of changes to the team in the last round of the Cup, where Southampton were 3-1 winners against West Ham.
Mariner checks we're ready to go. 7:30 at St Mary's on a Wednesday night. And Bowen's in behind and Stevens won't get there. Bowen just beaten to it. He got there, Bowen, came off his chest. Walker-Peters turns away from the attentions of Bowen, squares it across the West Ham half to Perrault. This time he's going to hit it! Oh my goodness me! Last time he played, he smashed the crossbar. This time he has smashed a beauty from outside the box on the angle. Armstrong showed good feet. West Ham have to clear their lines. Poor clearance. Prowse will look up and he puts it wide by a yard. Left-footed, takes the corner, under the crossbar again. Caballero lets it bounce down and it's gone in and there's no flag. And West Ham have equalised, and what was Willy Caballero doing? Brozier's done well to get inside Dawson. This is a massive chance, and Dawson got back and he made a very good challenge. Brozier thinks he was tugged back, waiting to see what Andre Morena thinks. He's had a look, he's showing the screen. Here he comes, right-footed. That's why. Forward ball to Redmond's going to come up a goal. Redmond's going to hit it. Oh, and Areola tips it behind for a corner. Good work from Adam Armstrong. Held off Dawson, gets it to Brozier in the box. This could finish it. Oh, he has finished it. Armando Brozier sends Southampton into the quarter-finals of the FA Cup.
Wow, what a performance that was. And Dean, I think it's fair to say that a little bit unexpected as well, given the number of changes we saw that day.
Yeah, unexpected in terms, like you say, Kenzie, the number of changes and because of the strength that West Ham went with it in terms of their team selection. But a brilliant performance, especially in the second half. Fantastic goal from Perrault, as we see, and the strike was fantastic, and he was getting closer and closer in previous games. But I mean, what a strike! And just a brilliant collective team performance. Some very good individual displays in terms of the players coming in that haven't been playing in the Premier League, but really deserved the victory, I thought, against a really good West Ham team. Reacted very, very well from West Ham equalising, and potentially then you could have thought with West Ham being at full strength that they would go on and maybe take control and win the game. But Brozier scored a fantastic goal, a solo goal. We had the penalty, so VAR for once was on our side and gave us a decision which I think was right. And the reliable James Ward-Prowse stepped up and scored a brilliant goal. And again, you know, his professionalism, his leadership was very evident on the night. So a very, very good performance. And tactically, the manager, you have to give some plaudits as well. You know, making two substitutions at half time. I think Shane Long was enforced, but Gineppo came off and Stuart Armstrong and Brozier came on, so there's some fresh legs, which made a difference. The manager used 5 substitutions on the night as well, so took advantage of the competition, which helped in terms of fresh legs and a fresh mentality for the remainder of the game. And like I say, Brozier's brilliant individual goal. So it was an excellent performance. It really, really was. And like you say, a bit of a surprise because of the team selection, but the players come in and perform very, very well and did themselves justice, did the club justice, and set up a brilliant tie that we have today at home against Man City. So yeah, very, very good evening of football for Southampton football.
Well, Joe, much to Roman Perrault's dismay, it was Armando Brozier's goal against West Ham that was voted goal of the round, and what a goal it was.
Yeah, I'm sure Perrault, maybe Brozier can give him that trophy or whatever he got, because he probably deserved it more, but still, what a great goal. And as Dean mentioned there, he has a really good impact off the bench, Brozier. He's done that a lot this season, these mazy runs. And he seems to come alive when he gets players like we're seeing there, 1v1, squared up. He can go both ways, chinks in and out. And he's so unpredictable and direct, that just causes absolute chaos for defenders. So the one thing about Brozier I think gets underplayed is how quick his feet are. He can shift, he can change, and also on the counter as well. He's deceptively fast. So he's got a lot of ability in his game. He's still developing, still getting better. And I think the big improvement we've seen during the season is goals like this. When he goes on a run, he now has the composure to finish it off. A lovely finish across goal into the bottom corner. And against Man City earlier this season, he obviously caused them a lot of problems in the home game as well, on the break and on the counter. So yeah, very great, very good goal. Not as good as Roman Perrault's, but I mean, 2 goal of the competition contenders in the same game. I think we'll take that as Saints fans.
Absolutely. Well, before we reflect on previous rounds as well, let's have a look at what the fans are saying watching along at home. A very good afternoon to all of you. Stephen and Karen say, come on, you Saints. David McGuinness is also up for this one. He says, just go for it today. Don't hold back. Come on, the Saints. Pete Butler, hello to you. He says, come on, lads, hold your heads up high and give City the hardest they've had. He thinks it will be 2-1 to the mighty Saints. And Jacqueline Baker is joining us from Bruges. Thank you very much for your company. Well, Dean, Southampton needed extra time in the 2 previous rounds against Swansea and Coventry. It perhaps was a bit of a slog, but it's never easy facing championship opposition.
It's really not. You know, when you're playing teams in a lower division, they always step up their game individually and collectively. It's always an important game for them. And you look at the Swansea game as well, that was in an empty stadium, so no fans there, so a different approach and a different atmosphere or no atmosphere, having to come from behind as well to win the game in extra time. Some brilliant goals from Nathan Redmond, really clinical. Shane Long with an assist and a fantastic goal from Elanusi, you know, him making those midfield runs into the box, very composed finish. And then this wonderful pass from James Ward-Prowse for Shane Long to finish in the Swansea game. And the Coventry game was difficult as well. Coventry, a young team, enthusiastic team. And as you can see from the first goal, the one-touch football and the movement was brilliant. But a fantastic goal from Stuart Armstrong to get us back into the game. Technique, power, precision, fantastic goal. And, you know, Cole Walker-Peters playing on the left-hand side, cutting in. Like to see more goals from him, like to see him in those situations and using his ability. And then the goal kicker with 2 brilliant saves at the end to get Southampton through. And I love the reaction as well. You know, 40 years of age, but still got that passion, that enthusiasm to win the game, and the happiness on his face, the fans celebrating just to get through that round. And I think it shows what the FA Cup still means to the players and the club and the fans, because it's a brilliant way to win a game of football. You know, to come from behind and then Coventry thinking they've equalised. And then the goal to be disallowed rightly for offside. So yeah, look, it's always difficult against a so-called smaller club, because you do raise your game. I've been in those situations myself. When you're playing a Premier League club, you always want to test yourself against better players. How good am I? Could I play at this level? Can I impress potentially to get myself a move? So yeah, brilliant from Southampton, and got the job done. I'm very, very professional. And set the type against West Ham, and then set the type against Man City today. So it's one of the reasons why I love the FA Cup. I think Southampton have been brilliant so far this year.
Yeah, very special competition. Well, before we get to the team news very shortly, a quick word on our captain, James Ward-Prowse. He's back in the England squad. And Joe, no surprise really, considering the season he's having.
No surprise whatsoever, Steve. He deserves to be in there. I still think he was very unlucky not to be in the European Championship squad last summer. I covered that whole competition in my role for NBC Sports, and I just remember every time England got a free kick in and around the box, I was thinking, Ward-Prowse should be here. He should be taking that. So for me, he's taken his game to another level this season. He's much better on the ball, I think, in the run of play. And it looks to me like Gareth Southgate, he's clearly had a conversation with Ward-Prowse and said, you need to improve on that, keeping the ball, different types of passing, getting more involved in the play, just like Declan Rice or Calvin Phillips do, who start in midfield for England. So at the moment, he has to be in that final squad for England for the World Cup in Qatar for me. Obviously, there's still a long way to go. A lot can happen between now and then. But you look at his goals and assists this season, 7 goals, 6 assists in all competitions for Southampton. He's well on the way to his best tally in terms of goal involvement. So he's taken his game to another level once again. Set pieces are superb. We know that. And people are always asking for that in a tournament situation, to have someone like Ward-Prowse on the ball, whipping in great deliveries and key moments. And I think he's just a wonderful role model for Southampton. I think he's respected by everyone across the Premier League, his England teammates, and he looks like he belongs when he's in the England squad. So, yeah, I think James Ward-Prowse has been rewarded for a fine season, but a fine few months as well.
Yeah, you summed up perfectly there, Joe. He is a great role model, isn't he? And of course, we are all absolutely delighted for him. Well, the team news is coming your way in less than 30 seconds' time. You can still get a comment in. Tell us who you'd like to see start against Manchester City today. But plenty others getting in touch, which is always great to see. Liam says up the Reds. Kat is going for a 3-2 win to Southampton today. Aaron Fryer, hello to you. He says he's going for a 2-1 win to Southampton. But I'm going to interrupt the comments to bring you the starting 11 now. The wait is over, and I can reveal the Southampton 11 is as follows. It's Fraser Forster who gets the nod between the sticks. The back four: Carl Walker-Peters, Mohamed Salah, Jack Stevens and Tino Livramento. In the middle, it's our captain, James Ward-Prowse, alongside Oriol Romeu. Adam Armstrong and Shane Long will lead the line with Stuart Armstrong and Moi Elianusi in support. The Southampton substitutes then are as follows: Willy Caballero, Jan Valery, Roman Perro, Will Smallbone, Ibrahima Diallo, Moussa Djenepo, Nathan Redmond, Shay Adams and Armando Broja. So let's come to you for your thoughts then, Dean, on this starting 11. Obviously, Jack Stevens coming into the back four to replace Jan Bednarek. Not sure whether that's due to injury or tactical. And Fraser starting in goal. So a few things to talk about, really.
Yeah, I think it's a good decision from the manager in terms of bringing Fraser Forster back in goal. I think he's the number one. He's very, very reliable. I think he's performed very, very well. And Southampton are going to have to defend well today. And Fraser Forster's going to have a good game today to, against a very strong attack-minded Man City team. So good decision. Jack Stevens come in, Mr. Reliable. I actually like Jack against the so-called better teams because of his reading of the game and his positioning. He's very, very good. He senses danger. He reads passes. And one thing Man City do very, very well is, they're very creative and they look for those balls that slide in and find in spaces, whether it's a number 10 coming into the hole, just Jack Stevens come out and press or hold his position, or then through balls. So good decision there. And the rest of the team kind of takes care of itself. Shane Long up front with Adam Armstrong. Adam Armstrong will be very, very keen to perform well, to score, to prove a point. And he does, like I say, have that pace and that willingness to run in behind, which I think is important to stretch this Man City defence when they get opportunities. So a good and a solid midfield, a reliable midfield that will work hard, that understand positions. And like Joe mentioned, there's going to be times today where Southampton are going to need to be able to keep the ball and have possession. You can't just defend for 90 minutes. So players that are good on the ball, can receive the ball under pressure is very, very important today. So yeah, look, it's a good team and a strong bench. And we might just see what happened against West Ham with half time, with half an hour to go, that the manager can use the strength on the bench and try and make an impact in the game.
On this starting 11 to face Manchester City today.
Yeah, I think defensively in midfield is basically what we expected, right? I think that's the strongest lineup. Jack Stevens come in and played in a lot of FA Cup games. And obviously, Jan Bednarek isn't even on the bench. So that seems like the best possible defensive midfield that you could pick. Up front, like Dean just mentioned there perfectly, I think it's a situation where Adam Armstrong and Shane Long are going to be told to, okay, pin Man City back for the first 45 minutes, run your absolute socks off, don't let them out, don't let them get into the rhythm and control of the game. And then I wouldn't be surprised if Shay Adams and Armando Broja both come on at half time. Nathan Redmond as well. You look at some of the other subs. Obviously, Moussa Djenepo as well can come on. But I think that Ralph's mentioned it many times in the FA Cup. Having 5 subs does suit Southampton well. We saw it, how well they played when that was the case in the Premier League. The rotation, the high tempo, the pressing, that works really well if you have players that are fresh. And the fact that Saints can have 5 subs, I think that's the key today. I think that if they make 2 or 3 subs at half time, they can keep that pressure on Manchester City. And I really like the lineup. I know that Shane Long and Adam Armstrong have struggled for opportunities and to score goals this season. But if you compartmentalize this game, I think it's a really good plan to have them start in and then have Shay Adams and Armando Broja coming on.
Fraser Forster starting over Willy Caballero in the Southampton goal today, Dean. So Ralph choosing not to rotate the keepers like he has done in previous rounds.
Yeah, and I think it's like I mentioned a minute ago, I think it's a sensible decision. I think it's a good decision. Fraser Forster is going to be very, very important today. We're seeing from the highlights some of the saves that he's made, how reliable he's been since he's come back in. I think he's Southampton's number one now. I think he's found fantastic form. He looks really fit and strong, confident as well. And he's such a physical presence and such a big stature of a man that when he goes in those one-on-one situations, it's really hard to beat him. And he's a top-class goalkeeper. He's been an international goalkeeper. That save against Tottenham was fantastic. The save against Manchester United in the first half, I think that potentially would have made it 2-0 to Manchester United at the time. So an important save. And I think the manager's just looked at it. Caballero's come in and done brilliant. You know, he's 40 years old. He's come in a difficult time for Southampton, played a few Premier League games, done very, very well in the FA Cup. But I think you've always got to try and put your number one goalkeeper in, and Fraser Forster is that. And he's calm in possession as well. When we mentioned it before, when Southampton need some moments of possession, some moments of calm, to be able to go back to him, to be able to play out, to then come back to him again, recycle the ball and move it out to the other side. He seems very composed and calm in possession, which I think has been an improvement to his game. So, you know, it'll need to be a strong team performance today with some individual brilliance. And I think Fraser Forster will need to be part of that today against, I've said it before, a brilliant Man City team. So, yeah, I think it's the right selection.
Well, Joe, Dean said it there. This is a brilliant Man City team. They are tough opponents, but we have had 2 credible draws against them this season. But we want to focus on the home match because it was a fantastic battle, wasn't it?
It really was. And yeah, I joined you guys for this one on Saints Live, and it feels very similar to today. And it was very much a no-lose situation because I think no one really expected Saints to get anything from this game with the run of form that City are on. But as you can see here, great start to the game, getting that early goal. And the key for me, Kenzie, is the quality on the ball. For this goal, there was a great bit of build-up on the left wing. The play was switched. And then just as we're seeing here, there was a decisiveness about Saints in the final third. And that's what's needed today, to be brave on the ball, to keep it. And these chances for Broja in behind, I mean, he hit the post in the second half. Saints were very dangerous. But as we're seeing at the other end, Mohamed Salah was sensational. This was kind of the game where the wider football world realised what a great season he's having. And Saints obviously played to the top of their game, then got that bit of luck with some of the chances City missed, some of the saves from Fraser Forster. As we see here, switched off slightly from a set-piece situation, which they're going to have to be much better on today. But they very much showed a blueprint of how they can play today, to keep it, to be sharp when they do get chances, and then be brave. Just go for it. And I think we're seeing that in a lot of the comments that the fans are saying. They want to see Saints go for it. It's a cup quarter final, go all out for the win, but have some balance about you as well. And this was the perfect example, this game, of a game plan that was pretty perfect, got an early goal, sat back, kept the ball, and then they were dangerous when they had the opportunities on the break. So, but that said, I mean, the last side to face Man City at least 3 times in the same season without losing were Liverpool, and that was back in 2015-16. So usually the quality of players Man City have, if they play against a team 3 or 4 times in a season, they can work out the weaknesses. So let's not underestimate the task at hand for Southampton here, but the 2 performances this season underlines that they can do it and at least take the game to extra time against City.
Yeah, Joe touched it just a second ago, Dean, with the build-up play before Kyle's goal. That was lovely, especially after winning the ball back.
It's a brilliant goal, Steve, and you know, to be able to see it from this angle as well is fantastic. It starts with a very good defensive shape. The players working hard to get into a shape. A brilliant interception from Stuart Armstrong. It's a perfect example of what Southampton will need to do today when they do win the ball back, retain the ball. Is to keep possession and not panic. Be nice and composed. Be calm in possession. There's lots of good movement in this. A switch of play as well to catch Man City out. Brilliant play from Oiramad to switch the play. And then once it's switched, this pace and this energy from Kyle Walker-Peters to attack that Man City defence. Good run from Nathan Redmond, and brilliant vision from Nathan Redmond as well, where you think he could have just tried to cross that ball and put it into an area. But the movement, like I say, from Kyle Walker-Peters, and it's the weight of the pass from Nathan Redmond. You know, it's not the smoothest pass. So it's a brilliant touch from Walker-Peters and a brilliant finish with the outside of his foot. But one thing the goal did demonstrate is that you will need to break this Man City team down. You will have to do something a little bit different in terms of keeping possession, try and get them out of shape, try and get yourself in one-on-one situations, and be brave as well. If you look at the goal, there's probably 3 or 4 Southampton players within the box. So you can't just rely on your strikers to get your goals. They need support to try and open up this Man City defence, because we all talk about how good Man City are going forward and how creative they are, but defensively they're very, very good as well. So it's just a brilliant team goal from one end of the pitch to the other. A very good defensive shape, good energy to win the ball back, and then when you do, good composure, good support from the players around you, good switch of play, and just a fantastic goal. And like I say, it's a good start. And if Southampton could get a start like that today, to get a goal ahead, it just gives you that bit of belief, that bit of confidence, and something to hold on to as well. So that could be vital in this performance today.
Yeah, that was a great strike from Kyle Walker-Peters, and we will speak about him in a bit more depth in just a moment. But let's get back to a few more comments from the fans. Harrison sent in this one. He says he's going for a 1-1 and then Southampton to win on penalties. I'm not sure my nerves can take that one. Aaron Fryer says he's going for 2-1 to the Saints. Vishnal, hello to you. He says happy Stephen starts, and also Adam Armstrong. Emil Tucker says, come on lads. Lee Summers also watching along on the socials. Come on you Saints. And Rosemary Rickett, very good afternoon to you. She says confident today, Salah winner. So lovely to hear from the fans as always. Thank you very much for sending those comments in. But Joe, we're going to bring the chat back to Kyle Walker-Peters now, because I think a lot of the fans felt disappointed and felt for him really that he wasn't included in the recent England squad. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'd echo those sentiments. I think the fact that he can play left back and right back just as well as each other is very valuable for a national team in a tournament situation coming up for England later this year. And consistently, he's been a 7 or 8 out of 10 player week in, week out for pretty much the last 12, 18 months now. He never really seems to be caught out defensively. So that's what I like about Walker-Peters. Always does his defensive work. But then he can obviously, as we all know, score great goals or surge forward and really add to Saints' attack. So I think the only other player in the England squad who can play left back and right back that well is Kieran Trippier. Not many players can really do it. I think João Cancelo can do it for Manchester City, but it's really a specialist kind of position and lets an England manager or a national team manager have an extra attacking player or luxury player in the squad if you do have a fullback who can play at right back and left back. So I think the issue for Kyle Walker-Peters is obviously that there's so many good right backs in the England squad. We all know that. But he's at a very similar level when he's playing left back to right back. I think he's a left back today. I think the only difference with him is maybe he's a bit more composed in the final third when he's playing at right back. You can see that it's a bit more natural. We see that from the goal he scored against Man City in that final pass. But he does find space really well when he is playing left back. He kind of just tucks inside and drifts inside naturally onto his right foot in pockets of space, which causes a lot of problems for the midfielders and the defenders on that side of the pitch. So for me, he's the perfect example of a young player coming in, working closely with Ralph Hasenhüttl and his coaching staff, and him being developed, much like Salisu, Shea Adams, and others. And I think he really is a perfect example of the Southampton way of, if you leave a so-called bigger Premier League team, come and play regularly, train regularly with a great manager like Ralph Hasenhüttl, you can get into the international picture. So even though he didn't get in this squad, I think he's really, really close to get into the England squad in the future.
Dean, how important is it to go into an international break off the back of a positive result? Because I can imagine it would be a pretty frustrating 2 weeks off the back of a defeat.
It can be tough, Steve. You're right. I think it's important if that's possible. I think it would be important for Southampton to go into the international break off a really good performance. You know, it's a difficult fixture today. It's a really difficult test against Man City. And especially after the 3 defeats in the Premier League, to put in a really good performance, I think it's the priority. I think the result comes from that. The outcome you can't really control from the game, but it can be frustrating. It can be a long 2 weeks then, especially with players going away on international duty. The squad is kind of depleted. Some players will be training, some players will be resting. But tactically, you don't always work on too much, and then you're very eager to come back and put things right. But if you can get a positive result, a positive performance, it does make that more of a resting period. Everyone just little bit more relaxed around the training ground. You kind of enjoy the rest a little bit more without that anxiety of thinking we need to get back to games to get a result, to put things right, to put a positive spin on things. But if you look at it, really, Southampton are going to come back from international duty 10th place in the Premier League, no matter what. Now, that would be brilliant if they were 10th place and actually in the FA Cup semi-final. That would be fantastic, and I'm sure the atmosphere around the training ground would be brilliant. So it'll be better. Put it that way, Steve. It'll be better for the players, but it's not the be on end all, because Southampton have been great this year and have put themselves in a really good position. But yeah, it would be lovely to put a victory and be in the FA Cup semi-final.
Lovely indeed. Well, before we come to you both for your final thoughts ahead of kickoff, let's take a look at a few scores elsewhere. The Southampton B team have been in action today. They beat Reading 2-1 with goals from Luke Pearce and Thierry Small. You love to see that. Cardiff women taking on Southampton FC. That's currently 0-0. And the latest score between Crystal Palace and Everton. Crystal Palace leading 3-0. Let's take a look at a few more comments from the fans then before we come back to Dean and Joe. Dylan, hello to you. He says, come on you Reds. He's watching from Brisbane. I imagine slightly warmer where you are, Dylan. It's very cold here today. Robert Woods, good afternoon. He says Saints for the home win. Ian Kitcher getting in touch as well. Come on you Saints. And Abigail on YouTube, thanks for this. She says, come on you Saints, we can do this. So really positive from the fans, actually, Joe. That's always good to see going into the match. But it's time now to put you on the spot. How do you see this one going? What's your score predictions today?
Yeah, this is difficult. This is really difficult. We all know that Man City are the favourites, so I don't think there's anything to lose for Southampton, which works in their favour. We've said it before, better playing against the bigger teams when not much is expected. They are a very good cup team. They've only lost 3 of the past 18 FA Cup matches. 2 of those have been semi-finals, and they're also unbeaten in their last home games in the FA Cup. So I'm building up towards something. I think I'm going to go with Harrison in the comments. 1-1 draw and Saints to win on penalty kicks. I feel like all season this FA Cup has been full of drama, extra time, and I can just see it happening again today at St Mary's. So yeah, that will be amazing if it does happen. And with Crystal Palace winning, there's a great opportunity there. No disrespect to them, but if you could draw them in the semi-final of the Cup, then that's a great chance here for Southampton to get to the final. But first things first, a penalty shootout win.
Wow, what a spectacle that would be. And I think we need to get a few more layers on if that's the case.
Certainly, yeah.
If we're out here for a bit longer, we've got to get another layer on. Dean, what are your thoughts then? You said earlier a good start is key for Southampton today. How are you feeling ahead of kickoff?
Yeah, I think that the start will be really positive, needs to be really positive, set the tone for the game. Because you look at the Man City team, they've gone really strong today. So you can see that they're looking to win the game, and it's still an important game to them and still an important competition. But I'm like Joe. I think this will be a brilliant game today. I think it'll be a tactical battle. And when you play against Man City, you don't get too many opportunities and they don't concede too many goals. So I'd love to say it'll be a 3-2, 4-3 to Southampton. But I'm going to go for, I've got a feeling, I've had a feeling all week. I've been asked about this many times, and people keep saying I'm biased, but I just fancy Southampton with a 1-0 win today.
I think it'll be tight. Well, I think we'd take anything. As long as it's progression to the next phase, I think we'd take it. So Dean, Joe, thank you so much for joining us on Saints Live. Around about 45 minutes to go until kickoff here at St Mary's in the FA Cup quarter-final clash between Southampton and Manchester City, with a place at Wembley up for grabs in the next round. We'll all be back on the final whistle with the post-game reaction and analysis. So do enjoy the match, and come on you Saints!